In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your master cylinder on your Mazda 3. It's located under the hood. This vehicle is missing a lot of parts and pieces. I'm going to do my best to show you how to remove what you probably have on your vehicle. There should be a cover to start out, so you want to take it out of these tabs by pushing in and disconnecting it and taking it off. After you're done doing that, you're going to disconnect this negative battery terminal. This vehicle also has aftermarket speaker wire, so disregard that. Remove your negative battery terminal. I use the 10mm wrench. Now you can remove your positive terminal using a 10mm again. And just set that off to the side. At this point, this vehicle is missing its hold down. You're going to use a 10mm socket and take off the bar that looks like sort of like a bow tie here, which ours is missing. And there's a bolt on this side, or a nut on this side, and a nut on this side. Using a 10mm socket, you're going to remove those. From there, we can take the battery out. I'm not worried about the speaker wire because our radio is missing, which is also aftermarket. Using a 10mm socket, in our case we're using a 3/8 that I hammered on because it's so rusty. You're gonna take out this bolt and this one over here. All right, you're probably going to be using the same size, 10mm. I'm using a 9 because I had to hammer it on. So after you remove this bolt, this one, we're going to go to this one. Using a 10mm socket and an extension. I'm going to take that out. At this point, you're going to take your airbox off. We undid our hose clamp here and took off the aftermarket stuff. You guys should have some sort of a box lid. You're going to take that off and then set that off to the side and then pull this out. There's rubber grommets that you got to yank on to pull out. I'll show that to you. There's one here and one here, so you yank really hard and this will come out. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to get this nut off the stud. Now we're going to take this off the stud. That's going to be holding your electrical stuff for the PCM. And we're going to take this cover off. It has a couple of tabs here that you're just going to push in here and then pull it off. We're going to flip up this white connector like that, using a flathead screwdriver, and then we're going to disconnect these connectors. Now we're going to gently move these harnesses aside. I'm going to unsnap this, which mine is already unsnapped, but if yours is not, you're going to take it out of this area and just set it to the side. You are going to have to disconnect this grommet here that's in the bottom of the battery case. You're going to use a trim tool and take that out. Now we can pull this out. Make sure your harnesses are all away. I'm just going to leave this here because our plastic is pretty brittle and I don't want to break all of that. This master cylinder doesn't have a wide enough opening to siphon out nearly as much fluid to make it worthwhile. So we're not going to siphon it out. We're just going to plug the holes after we take the lines out. Using a 10 millimeter line wrench, loosen up these lines and take them out. Make sure you have a drip pan below, especially since we're not siphoning. We're going to temporarily plug our master cylinder until we get both lines off, and a container to put underneath. We're going to undo the first plug to drain it into a container. Put that on the bottom, and I'll just put my plug in. And now we're going to do this line. Same size, 10 millimeter. You may need a line wrench if it's tough getting out. Now we're going to take this line out and plug this hole as well. These plugs came from the new master cylinder. To make our lives easier, we're going to just drain the master cylinder before we take it out, since it keeps dripping, even with the plug. While that's draining, we're going to disconnect our connector. Put that off to the side. Once you're to a slow drip, you can plug your holes again and get ready to remove the master cylinder from the vehicle. Next, we're going to remove this plug. There could be fluid that comes out of this as well, so just make sure you're there to catch it. Using a 13 millimeter socket, we're going to remove these two nuts holding the master cylinder to the vehicle. All right, so now just put your finger over this in case there's any more fluid, and I'm just going to pull that off. Make sure that your master cylinder is set up in a vise in a stable way where it's level and you have your bleeder lines going out and into the reservoir. Do not put the plug on this yet until after you fill up your reservoir. So you're going to fill this up till you see fluid coming out of this. So once you see the fluid coming out, you're going to cap it. Make sure you have some rags nearby. Clean up your mess. And I'm watching air bubbles come out already. So there's a lot of air in the system already without even bleeding the master cylinder yet. I'm using a brass punch, and I'm going to bleed the master cylinder by pushing in and letting it out. You're going to do this till you don't see air bubbles anymore. And do a couple more, and then I think it's good. Not really seeing any big air bubbles coming out. Remove your lines and put your cap on. This cap and this cap over here are going to prevent the fluid from coming out of the lines in a continuous way. You'll have a little bit, but not too much. We're going to cap that as well, though. Fluid is going to come out of this one much quicker. So make sure you plug that quickly and clean up your mess. Make sure you clean and inspect the area. There's no loose rust or debris. And now we can install. Line up the studs with the housing of the master cylinder. Now we're going to install our nuts. I'm going to torque these nuts to 20 foot-pounds. Now we're going to take off this plug and connect our line. Make sure you have a finger over it until you connect it. Connect your connector. Make sure you hear the click. I'm going to start with this back plug. As soon as I take the plug out, I'm going to put my fitting in. Try to work quickly getting these lines in the master cylinder before the fluid drains out. Okay, now we're going to do our other line. Make sure that's very snug. Take off the cap. And try to get that started as quickly as possible. Make sure you snug it down. And clean the area. Okay, now you can use some brake parts cleaner and clean the area. Now you can take your rag or whatever you had in there out. I'm going to top off my master cylinder since there was a lot of fluid that got lost. I'm going to fill it up to the max line. You can put your cap back on. So now we're going to reinstall our battery box. Make sure that the holes line up. You got one here, here, and here. Now we're going to put our bolts in. Put your wiring harnesses back in place. Press them down. And lock it in place, and then do the same on the other one. Put the bracket back on the stud, like that, and put the nut on. Now snug that up. Now line up your side bracket here. Ours is a little broken, so we're going to make it work. Now we're going to put our airbox back, at least the bottom half of it. Push it into the grommets. Now put the top of your airbox on and connect your connector. Place your battery in. Put your positive terminal on first. Make sure it's all the way down. Tighten it up. Do the same on the negative. Snug it up, make sure it doesn't move. Now you can place your bow tie hold down and tighten these two nuts with a 10mm socket. And then put your battery tray cover back on. Now you can put your cover back on. Snap it into place. And now you can bleed the brakes with a full brake bleed procedure. Starting in the right rear, then the left rear, then we're going to go to the right front, and then the left front. Make sure that you have a drain bucket below before proceeding, or something like we have to catch the brake fluid. We're going to take our cap off the bleeder screw. I'm using a 10mm wrench. I'm going to loosen this up. I have somebody in the vehicle that's going to pump the brakes up for me. Pump them up, please. He's holding. I'm going to break it free. It's to the floor. I'm going to close it back down. Pump it up. As we're doing this, we're going to look for air bubbles going down the tube. Pump it up one more time, please. He's holding. To the floor. I'm going to close it back down and move on to my left rear. Take this off. Clean it off. And put our cap back on. All right, now that we've done our back two wheels, midway through, we're going to check our fluids. Replace your cap. All right, now that you've topped that off, you can proceed to the right front. We just topped off our brake fluid, and now we're here at the right front. Take off the cap. You're going to use a 9mm wrench for the front bleeder. And have your friend inside the car pump it up. Okay, pump it up. Pump it up. Close that down. Make sure it's tight. We're going to clean it off and put the cap back on. And now we're going to go to the left front. Now that we've done all four wheels, I'm going to clean the cover, take it off, and top off our fluids. Make sure you fill it to max. Clean up any fluid that you may have spilled. You can get in your vehicle, check your brake pedal, make sure it's right at the top, nice and firm, and then take it for a road test. If it is not, you're going to have to redo the brake bleed procedure again.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.